Back in May, we found Oppo's Find 7a to be a surprisingly solid entry from the Chinese manufacturer. The hardware and design were great, the software wasn't bad, and the performance was fantastic. One phone we didn't expect to be comparing the Find 7a to, however, was one of Apple's new iPhones. But the iPhone 6 Plus is actually very close in size and targets effectively the exact same consumers, those who simply want more out of their phone. How do these phones compare? I'm Taylor Martin with Pocket Now, and this is the iPhone 6 Plus versus the Oppo Find 7a. First things first, both of these smartphones are very large. Both come with 5.5-inch 1080p IPS LCD panels, meaning they come with the same pixel density, 401 pixels per inch. But we immediately notice that the Find 7a's display is more vibrant and has better contrast, while the iPhone 6 Plus display is noticeably warmer, yet brighter. Both have great side visibility, and we would expect few complaints, if any, from most users. The displays are gorgeous, despite their differences. Although these phones come with the same display size, the iPhone 6 Plus is actually a bit larger than the Find 7a. It weighs just 2 grams more, and it's 5.5mm taller and 2.8mm wider, but it's 2.1mm thinner than the 7a. These size differences are minor, and in the hand, they're nearly indiscernible, but Apple's iPhone 6 Plus feels a little more comfortable to hold, thanks to the rounded edges. The edges of the 7a are much more harsh, but the slightly curved back does help it contour to the palm of your hand. Both are pretty slick, and they're not exactly easy to wield and use one-handed. They will likely stretch your grip and will often force you to use both hands when typing, browsing, scrolling, what have you. Constructed almost entirely of aluminum, the iPhone 6 Plus feels a hair more premium, but the Find 7a is also built exceptionally well. They both feel incredibly solid and look great in their own right. That said, the Find 7a has a bit of a leg up. We're major fans of notification LEDs, and the Find 7a's Skyline notifier simply has a cool factor not found on any other phone, save for its next of kin, the Find 7. Inside, these phones are quite different, however. The Find 7a has twice as much RAM, but only comes with 16GB of storage. The 6 Plus comes in either 16, 64, or 128GB options. That said, the Find 7a has a microSD card slot for up to 128GB of additional storage. It also has a Snapdragon 801 SoC with a quad-core Crate 400 clocked at 2.3 GHz. The iPhone 6 Plus has the new A8 chip with a dual-core 1.4 GHz Cyclone CPU. They have similar batteries as well, 11.1 Wh in the 6 Plus and 11.76 Wh in the 7a. The 7a also has an advantage in camera resolution, 13 megapixels to the 8 found on the 6 Plus. Both have NFC, but the iPhone's is locked to Apple Pay. The iPhone comes with Wi-Fi 802.11ac, but the Find 7a only has BGN, and of course, both also have Bluetooth 4.0. The iPhone also has a fingerprint scanner, the Find 7a does not. When it comes to phones to compare with the iPhone 6 Plus, the Find 7a is about as close as it gets. Frankly, we like the hardware on both handsets. We could go on about software all day, especially with the new iOS 8 update, but we'll keep it short since the ecosystems, apps, digital content, cloud services are more like every day. The Find 7a runs Color OS, which is just a modified version of Android. It's still running on Android 4.3 Jelly Bean. Outside the usual Android stuff, it offers things like custom themes, a sometimes busier than usual notification shade with expanding quick toggles, and a gesture panel for launching tasks and apps by drawing different letters and shapes. Underneath, it's still the same Android we know and love, but the top layer in Color OS doesn't really do this phone any justice. The feature add-ons aren't that useful, and the number of pre-installed apps is incredibly high. I recently covered all that has changed in iOS 8, and you can find that in a video linked in the description below. But to be frank, the third-party implementations like sharing, aftermarket keyboards, or even the Today widgets aren't nearly as polished as we would have liked or expected from Apple. We've been experiencing bugs and glitches with our iPhone 6 Plus since Friday. Both operating systems fail to really capture what it is to be a so-called phablet, to offer tablet-like features on a smartphone. The iPhone 6 Plus has a few things like reachability and split-pane views in some apps, but we'd rather see true split-screen multitasking or something of that sort. Both of these handsets can lay down the performance though. In typical usage, both the iPhone 6 Plus and 7a purr along smoothly. Apps open instantly, scrolling and zooming is buttery smooth, and task switching is a breeze. Gaming performance is just as well, though we can't say we've noticed any major improvements from Apple's Metal technology just yet. Metal optimized apps will get additional content, but we can't say it has drastically changed the mobile gaming experience one way or another. At 1080p and 5.5 inches, a console-like game is still just a mobile game. We're just happy both handsets handle gaming like champs. Benchmark scores do show some discrepancies in performance, but in the day-to-day these differences will go mostly unnoticed. Battery performance, from what we can tell, seems to be a little better on the iPhone 6 Plus. In our time with the Find 7a, we only got average battery life, typically needing to charge once per day. We've been using the iPhone 6 Plus heavily every day and haven't managed to kill it entirely yet. With this phone, you can expect a day and a half to nearly 2 days before needing to charge, though we still charge it every night. The upshot with the Find 7a, however, is rapid charging. It comes with a 4.5 amp power brick that should charge the phone at least 75% in just 30 minutes. So, battery woes be damned. There's no notable difference in speaker quality either, except that the Find 7a is rear-firing and the iPhone's is mounted on the bottom edge. Both positions have their disadvantages. The iPhone's is easily covered and muted by accident, while you'll need to use the old hand cup method on the 7a. The Find 7a's camera was one of the more interesting things we looked at earlier in the year. Not exactly for its reliability or the quality of its standard pictures, but due to its ability to take 50 megapixel images. In short, it's using the shift and add method to stitch 5 13 megapixel images together, and it works surprisingly well. Outside that really neat parlor trick, the Find 7a's camera is mostly hit or miss. It's either really good or really mediocre. The iPhone 6 Plus comes with optical image stabilization, which does seem to help it in low light situations. And despite the iPhone's lower camera resolution, it manages to capture more detail in auto capture mode. Pictures taken with the 6 Plus have better contrast, more natural color reproduction, sharper focus, and a higher dynamic range. If you had trouble with the Find 7a locking focus on a subject, and with blurry photos from a shutter delay. Both phones take great pictures, and with a little more work, you can get even better pictures out of the Find 7a with its Ultra HD capture mode. But for general purposes, the iPhone 6 Plus camera is the clear winner. At the end of the day, it's pretty level pegging between both of these phones. They're roughly the same size, both perform exceptionally, battery life is not a problem on either for different reasons, and the differences in what the Google Play Store and Apple's App Store have to offer are increasingly slim. For those who prefer a little more tweaking out of the box, the theme offering in ColorOS might draw you towards the Find 7a. But the more balanced option here is the iPhone 6 Plus. Its camera is more reliable, even if it doesn't take 50 megapixel images, the battery life is better, and the software is less cumbersome. It's simply a more polished product. The only problem is tracking one down. Folks, thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and hit the like button below, and subscribe while you're at it to stay tuned for more iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus coverage over the next few weeks. Find us around the web on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and Instagram at Pocket Now. I'm Taylor Martin, Casper Tech on Twitter, and I will see you next time.